Today we're in Fort Lauderdale's hottest neighborhood, ranked #1 overall. We're gonna take a look at Rio Vista, and by the end of this video, you'll see why niche.com ranks it as the #1 best overall neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale, the #1 best neighborhood to raise a family in Fort Lauderdale, and #2 overall in Fort Lauderdale for young professionals. All right, let's dive right in, but before we get going, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. So what makes Rio Vista ranked #1 and #2 in all these categories? Well, overall, it's gonna be the location. We're just southeast of downtown in Las Olas, literally right there. And this is one of those older neighborhoods similar to Victoria Park that gives you that perfect blend of old Florida charm and modern, but also adds that touch of high-end waterfront luxury. So very suburban, but right in the heart of the city. Not really what you'd expect for a city neighborhood, but also really good ocean access, maybe about 2 nautical miles to the inlet. It's basically a one-stop shop, and so we're gonna pull up Google Earth to do a deeper dive into the neighborhood and take a look at some street views. But before we do that, I do just want to remind you that we are a team of realtors here in Florida, and we make these videos to give you something that I didn't have when I moved out here 5 years ago. So whether you're buying or selling in South Florida, we'd love the opportunity to hear from you and help you in any way that we can. Feel free to call, text, or email us at any time. All right, so let's get into some Google Earth action and see why this neighborhood was ranked #1 overall. So let's get in there. So there's Rio Vista. Like I said before, just southeast of downtown. Location is gonna play a massive role, among other things, as to why this is overall #1. I mean, you're literally a hop, skip, and a jump away depending on where you live in the neighborhood. Let me just give you the breakdown. So downtown Fort Lauderdale, right here. This is US 1, and then Rio Vista is just to the east of that. So really any of these streets, if you can see these, that come out to US 1, you're right there at the tunnel, which takes you right into downtown or right into Las Olas this way. Also takes you down to the beach, which is right down here. There's also another point of access to the beach that may be a little bit further, maybe not further, but it may take a little bit longer. I'll show you while we're here. It's down here at 17th Street, which is a major causeway down near the Port Everglades. The reason I say this may take you a little longer is because once you come up this street, all these beaches right here are private. So you have to come up, and right about here, yeah, right about here at Fort Lauderdale Beach, that's when the beach starts to become public. So back to Rio Vista. We're gonna hop into some street view in a minute, but just to give you an idea of what's around here, I mean, if you've seen my videos before, you know what's in downtown Fort Lauderdale, you know what's in Las Olas. There's just everything, shopping, dining, nightlife. And the cool thing about this neighborhood is that this is the Riverwalk right here. So zooming back out, you can see in the northwest corner, there's the tunnel. There's a little parking lot right here where if you want to take your car and park it, you can, or if you live in a house nearby, you can just walk. There's the Riverwalk right here. There is water taxi stops on the Riverwalk. I would have to double check. I'm not sure if they stop on this side or only on this side, but there definitely is water taxi stops. And overall, you're just close to a lot of good restaurants. You have Fat Boy Sushi right outside the neighborhood. And then you have all the high-end restaurants that are downtown, like Fogo de Chao, Fleming's, everything on Las Olas. And so in a way, it's very similar to Victoria Park in the sense that we're just southeast of downtown. Victoria Park is right up here, just northeast of downtown. The major difference is gonna be the access. It's a little bit easier to get out of Rio Vista just because you are right there near the tunnel. And another thing before I forget, I don't wanna forget, is it US 1. You can come out of any of these streets. If you're at a light, you make a left, just take US 1 straight down, and you're about 10 minutes to the airport and 10 minutes to the Port Everglades right here. So fantastic location. This is Davie Boulevard right here, which will take you to I-95. This is a pretty busy area, so I'm not gonna lie, US 1 Federal Highway, this little stretch of it, it tends to get pretty busy, especially because they've been doing construction on this tunnel here for about 2 or 3 years now. So traffic just tends to back up at the tunnel anyway. So yes, it is a busy area, but the great thing about Rio Vista is it's not a transient neighborhood. So, I mean, there's really no reason to go in there if you don't live there. As you can see, it's just all homes. Even down here, out to Rio Vista Isles, it's all residential. There's really nothing inside the actual neighborhood aside from a few parks, but even there, it's just gonna be the locals there. Now, the one thing that may get some through traffic is Cordova Road, which is, I believe, this road right here, which runs all the way up. And this will take you to Southeast 17th Street. So that may be the only through traffic you get, is people coming on 17th Street, which also gets a lot of traffic up towards Federal. They may cut over on Cordova and then cut through one of these streets like Davie Boulevard to get to Federal. That would be the only traffic that you see in the neighborhood. But let's take a look at some of the homes. And one of the streets that I want to show you, one of my favorite streets, is called Ponce de Leon. Hope I said that right. So let's see what we got here. And it's a really nice street. I mean, as you can see, it has the median that runs down the middle. Very mature landscaping, very green. So let's just see what we got. Hopefully we can get some good home views. Character. It's the one thing about this neighborhood. You get a lot of character. Homes tend to be pretty old in this neighborhood. I mean, they could date back to the 40s, 50s, maybe even in the 30s, some of these homes. So it's not uncommon to see a house like this right next to something that was completely scraped and a new build is on it. Let's keep going. Another thing is this neighborhood is very pedestrian friendly. So you can see there's a bike lane here. I mean, this car is not really doing it justice by being parked halfway over it. But another thing is sidewalks. Huge deal. A lot of neighborhoods in South Florida don't have sidewalks. I'm pretty sure every street in Rio Vista has sidewalks. So empty lot here, brand new construction. This may be a couple lots here because this thing is massive, and this house doesn't look like it's all for this lot, but let's keep going. And this is the end of Ponce de Leon, and there's a really famous house in Fort Lauderdale right at the end here. I don't know if it's gonna let me go any further. It's called the, I'm gonna butcher this name, the Huizenga Mansion. I hope I said that right, but I'm gonna show you some footage of it. It's a really popular house here in Fort Lauderdale. This thing isn't letting me go any further. I guess the police stopped the Google guy from going any further, but let's just keep going. Really cool homes. And this is by far my favorite street here. A lot of it just has to do with the median, the landscaping. See, newer construction, maybe 2015, and then right next to it, kind of like a Key West style house. So there's really something for everybody in this neighborhood. All right, let's get off Ponce de Leon. There's the bridge going over the water, one of the canals, so you can see some really nice views here. It's also worth noting that Rio Vista Isles is home to some of the most expensive real estate in all of Fort Lauderdale. I'll show you that too. I don't think it's gonna do justice to show some of these homes on Google Maps, so we'll go out there and take a look at some of them, but let's just keep driving. Some more new construction right here. See, sidewalks everywhere you go. Nice little older home right here. Right next to a new construction, modern contemporary. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much what Rio Vista looks like. I mean, you just kind of have everything here. That's pretty cool. That's kind of like almost like a colonial style house from the Northeast. It's not something you typically see in Florida. And another cool thing about this neighborhood is that you can actually see the skyline from some of the streets depending on where you are. I mean, that's how, look, right here. You can see the skyline. That's how close you are to downtown Fort Lauderdale. Now there is one more thing that I want to show you before we actually get into the neighborhood itself and off of Google Earth. Just go down here by the Riverwalk. I'm not sure how far it'll let me go. Let's start back here. So this is a really cool park right here, right on the river. Really cool homes. And for condos in Rio Vista, you may find one condo building. If there's more than one, I'm not too sure about it, but it's out on the outskirts. You'll see what I mean right here in a minute. It was garbage day. I can never seem to avoid garbage day. So here's a couple condo buildings. Maybe those are townhomes. And then you have these right out here. This is where we're starting to get towards the end. So where I showed you before where the Riverwalk is, those couple of parking spaces right here. I don't think it's gonna let me go up here. I guess it is, I don't know how far. Okay, it's literally letting me go on the Riverwalk. There's the water taxi, like I mentioned. You have everything here. So why is it overall the #1 best neighborhood? I would venture to say location, style of homes, ocean access. Why is it #1 for raising a family? Something I didn't mention, you're zoned for Harbordale Elementary School, which is an A-rated school. Sidewalks, parks, the Riverwalk. Nice tucked away neighborhood that doesn't get too much traffic. All great reasons to raise a family. Why is it #2 for young professionals? Well, downtown, Las Olas. Young professionals like to network. A lot of them may work downtown. This is a good option for them. So what I wanted to show you before we hop out is this right here is actually new construction. It looks like at the time they hadn't started anything yet, but this is 6th and Rio. So it's a townhome. I believe it's townhomes and condos. I'll show you some information on that. But that's pretty much Rio Vista explained on the map. I want to go into the neighborhood and actually show you what it looks like, because Google Street View, it'll only show you so much. So let's get out there. All right, so before we continue with this tour, I apologize for the construction noise you hear in the background. One thing about Rio Vista is that there is a lot of construction that goes on in this neighborhood. A lot of remodeling, a lot of new build homes being built. So I apologize for that, but let's get on with the actual tour of the neighborhood. And before we do that, I did just want to remind you again that we are realtors in Florida. If you got value from this video, we'd love to hear from you and see what we can do to help you. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let's get on with this tour and we'll catch you on the next one.